A very warm welcome to you all, and special greetings to our guests from the Babari Group in Kenya, today partners of this wonderful project which we are about to inaugurate. We are gathered to celebrate a grand premiere in the history of our island. Indeed, the opening of the first airport hotel, designated as such, some others are around, as such is the first step, but it's a huge step, convergent and integrated project, yet to be fully in line with the stated objectives of the country's master plan for the southeastern region of our island. In a sense, the opening of the Holiday Inn Airport Hotel is but a first step for Omnicane in a continuum that will and should translate into a huge step for Mauritius. Thank you, Neil Armstrong, for that quote. You will appreciate that it follows closely the opening of one of the most iconic and important realizations of our young Mauritian history, the new world-class SSR Airport terminal just a few hundred meters away. According to John Casada of the University of North Carolina, airports will shape business locations and urban developments in this century as much as highways did in the 20th, railroads in the 19th, and seaports in the 18th centuries. Airport terminals, and in particular their immediate environment, house numerous economic and service-providing activities, namely hotels, office space, shopping malls and centers, convention centers, leisure facilities, and high-tech activities, all of which will soon be forthcoming. The Holiday Inn Airport Hotel is yet another jewel in the tourism crown of our island, Mr. Minister. Franchising an international brand brings with it a string of advantages. They are distinctive, they are well known across the globe, and bring with them a large, dedicated market of faithful customers. Not to mention that the proximity with the airport is yet another notable advantage that will serve all the airport operators, from airline companies to transit passengers, who will no doubt welcome and hail such a conveniently located hotel. In passing, and as a reminder, the first Holiday Inn Hotel was established some 61 years back in 1952. The quality and attractiveness of the product and the norms and standards practiced have upheld the IHG brand name throughout the times. Distinguished guests, this project is also a premiere in that it constitutes a truly African-Mauritian joint venture, not only in the hotel industry, but also in Omnicane's core business, which is the cane industry and its corollary, the production of energy. We could say that Omnicane is boldly not only talking the walk, but today is walking the talk in terms of global investments on the African continent. Ladies and gentlemen, let's now turn to the video screens on each side of this podium, and let's watch a short rendering of Omnicane's corporate movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed, it is my privilege and pleasure to welcome you to the official inauguration of the Holiday Inn Mauritius Airport Hotel. Just a few months after the Honorable Prime Minister, who has agreed to be in our midst, inaugurated the iconic new terminal building of the Sir Siusaga Rangulam Airport, just 700 meters away. This demonstrates the converging vision we share as partners and stakeholders of this region and our country in consolidating the gateway we aspire to be to and from Africa and the rest of the world. The video you've just seen has enabled all of us to appreciate the transformation program we have triggered already some years back. The whole process was crystallized in 2009 through our rebranding exercise into Omnicane. I would like to pay a special tribute to all those who have indistinctively had a highly appreciated and valued input therein. In 2009, The Honorable Prime Minister made it a point to be present at the fully integrated cane cluster at La Baraque, which is now nearly completed, with the commissioning of the bioethanol distillery and the forthcoming realization of the carbon burnout project, which will transform coal ash in cement additive. Ladies and gentlemen, we are together again this evening to place yet another landmark of this journey with the inauguration of the Holiday Inn Mauritius Airport Hotel. This first achievement is in line with our vision towards the planned development and modernization of the region, taking advantage of the stimulus generated by the brand new international airport terminal. The Holiday Inn Mauritius Airport has to be considered as a stepping stone for new exciting initiatives that will project us into the next 50 years. Allow me to share with you some salient features of this airport hotel. A premiere with the backdrop of the hospitality industry of our country, more associated with beach resorts of worldwide quality and recognized world-class goodwill. We have taken up the challenge of innovation by setting up this new facility, and I would like to thank all our partners, government authorities, and team of experts for their precious collaboration. Holiday Inn Mauritius Airport is a 4-star contemporary business hotel designed for and destined to the business community. It is part of the world-renowned Intercontinental Hotels Group and is a totally new, innovative and unique product of the Mauritian landscape, in the Mauritian landscape. Holiday Inn Mauritius Airport will serve Mauritius and the whole region in support of the government's vision to transform our island into a regional business hub. Located just 700 meters away from the terminal, it is set to become the natural meeting point of the airport area. The hotel proposes a free shuttle service to and from the airport, which is just 5 minutes away and features a modern reception area as well as an elegant bar and restaurant, open from 6 a.m. to midnight, which can accommodate up to 170 guests. The swimming pool and landscape gardens offer an exquisite relaxing area, and room service is available 24/7. Holiday Inn Mauritius Airport comprises of 140 rooms, of which 9 are executive suites and 3 are accessible. Complimentary high-speed Wi-Fi is available throughout the hotel and meet the needs of the modern traveler. The hotel proposes special features for business people with 435 square meters of fully equipped conference and meeting facilities. 4 state-of-the-art conference room that include video conference and boardroom services ensure that every professional is at ease to conduct business operations with local or overseas partners. The hotel also offers a fully equipped gym and a unique spa to enable guests to work out and relax. The Holiday Inn Mauritius Airport has required an investment of 850 million rupees, financed to the tune of 50% by equity and by bank loans from the European Investment Bank, the Mauritius Commercial Bank, and the State Bank of Mauritius. The hotel is owned by Airport Hotel Limited and is managed by Morningside Limited under a franchise agreement with Holiday Inn. Morningside Limited is a 100% subsidiary of Omnicare. Holiday Inn Mauritius Airport benefiits from the expertise of highly motivated and dedicated team of professionals led by Jean-Éric Sirop and Grégory Coquet. The hotel has the following shareholders: 61% is Omnicare Group, 29% loyal sons from the Papari Group, 10% the Mauritius National Pensions Fund. It is my pleasure and privilege to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, our regional partners representative from the Papari Group, Mr. Kaushik Papari. Mr. Kaushik Papari. I'd like to seize this opportunity to propose a quick update on the ongoing progress at Kwale. The construction of the integrated plant is in its final stages, and commissioning is planned for July this year. We are confident that the cluster will be up and running around September. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, mention has been made previously of the Holiday Inn Mauritius Airport as a stepping stone towards major development in this area. I will now provide you with some factual details of this forward-looking development project known as Montresor Airport City, Mauritius. Montresor Airport City is a real estate development in the strategic zone around the Sesio-Sagara-Angulam International Airport. Guided by our vision to be an inspiration for sustainable development, we have made a commitment to the future. Sustainability is fundamental to our project, and we are proud to fully support the Maurice Durable concept and the government's vision for the country. The 50-year master plan, which has been thoroughly discussed with the government authorities and stakeholders all through its preparatory phase, encompasses judiciously conceived infrastructure and real estate developments in the region of Montresor. The master plan has been financed through a grant of the European Investment Bank. It has been placed under the responsibility of Royal Haskoningse DHV, urban planners and architects of international repute from Holland, as well as Mauritius-based architect studio and Bogertman and Partners Architects. Montresor Airport City is a mixed-use project comprising of a business park, hospitality, leisure and shopping facilities, as well as cultural spaces topped up by diversified residential offers. We are fully confident that this major development will culminate in the creation of a modern and attractive city integrating working, living and leisure in line with the government budget plan to create an aviation hub and capitalize on the airport region as an economic pillar. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention. I now have the honor to invite the Honorable Prime Minister to deliver his address. Thank you very much.
And distinguished guests, the Omnicane Group and the Papari Group in Kenya ought to be congratulated for having correctly read the signs of the transformation of our economy. I was just asking Mr. Jacques Neville how many years I've known him, because it's about 10 years, because he's always been innovative in his approach. I did not know what he was going to say in his speech, believe me, but it's exactly what I wanted to say. That there are subtle but growing changes in our economy. We all know that tourism is an important pillar in our economy. We all know this. Last year, the tourism industry's contribution to GDP was 7.1%. Our gross earnings from tourism was nearly 41 billion rupees. And the industry employs over 28,000, I wish it were 280, 28,000 people in that industry. And we expect tourism to continue to be an important driver of our economy, our growth and job creation. But what many do not seem to realize, many of the people who come here, foreigners, they do not anymore come here just for the sand, for the sea, and for the sun. There's a growing number of people coming here for short stays to do business. That is a change in the pattern. They often come for 1 day or 2 days. They never go to the beach to relax or to swim or to have a massage, as I saw here. They have short business meetings and they fly back. Not so long ago I was traveling to South Africa, and I was in a South African Airways plane, and I was sitting in front, and there was a lady sitting next to me whom I did not know, African lady. But unfortunately the air hostess announced that we have the Prime Minister of Mauritius on board. I wish she hadn't, but she had. And so she turned around and said, "You must be the Prime Minister." I said, "Yes, I am." And you know what she said to me? She said, "Sir, I don't know the lady." She said, "I congratulate you. I've just come from South Africa last night. I'm going back today just for business." She works at one of the big banks here. And she said, what I like about Mauritius, you've achieved many things that we have not been able to achieve in Africa. She said she came here, she had her meetings, every application that she had to deal with was dealt with within 24 hours, and she's going back home completely happy that everything has been done within 48 hours. But that's exactly what I was trying to say, and you said as well. There is a new niche, separate from tourism. And what these executives or investors want is a good hotel, not far from the airport, with a place where they can have meetings, as you just said, and conferences. So that's exactly what is needed at this point in time. And the directors of Holiday Inn, this airport hotel, have really identified new opportunities. It doesn't have to be a 5-star hotel, quite right. And the government's vision, as Mr. Junaid rightly said, we want to ensure that Mauritius has the infrastructure to become a hub for business and financial affairs. Many people don't understand this. Government's role is to provide an overall vision where it wants the country to go and create the environment for this to happen. And the private sector's role is to grab these opportunities and invest and make them happen. The opening of this Holiday Inn airport hotel is a classic example of the partnership between the public and the private sector. Sometimes I try to say it in my speeches, people don't realize it. You see me opening a hotel today, opening a clinic somewhere else, opening a new road, opening the airport, but they are not isolated. There is an overall long-term vision, a plan to bring everything together. There is a golden thread in the vision of the government. When we took over in 2005, we all knew what the economic situation was in the doldrums. But worse was ahead, because we knew the sugar protocol was about to be terminated, and also the multi-fiber agreement was about to be terminated. There had been no planning for this. And what did this mean? Not only the economy was in dire straits, but also that we were about to face two big shocks: the sugar protocol and the multi-fiber agreement, the dismantlement of them. So we decided, looking ahead, that is why it is important to look ahead, not to wait for it to happen and then you see what you're going to react. To be proactive, and we took some bold measures to be able to face the challenges when they come. It took a lot of courage, but as I said to my colleagues, a lot of people weren't pleased, but what I said to them is, government is not there to please. We are here to govern, and we must govern in the interest of the country, not in the interest of a party. Of course, we face elections every 5 years, and we have to do a lot of things that perhaps we wouldn't want to do. Look what's happening in India. They're giving free gas, a lot of things free. I would never do this, because there's nothing free in life, except perhaps the air we breathe and the sun. Nothing is free. Nothing is given to man. You know the saying from the Bible, God doesn't live, and man doesn't live by bread alone. If there is no effort, there is no dedication, you can't expect to get results, and then expect government to give you everything free. That is not what we want to do, at least my party. That is not our vision. And you know, when we decided then, that is when we decided we'll bring the Minister of Finance, then was Mr. Ramastanan. We decided we will bring down the tax rate, both corporate and personal, down drastically to 15%. You know, some said we should have, on the contrary, increased corporate tax, including the then president. They thought, look what these guys are doing. They say they're socialist and they're bringing down the corporate tax. You know what they are? Armchair economists. They don't understand anything but the first to comment. And look what the results have been. I have a particular abhorrence for people who believe in cutting the cake in small pieces and then distribute them, instead of making the cake bigger and then giving a bigger slice to everybody. That is the difference. A lot of the things that are happening in Europe, if I were not a tall ambition, if I were their leaders, this is not my approach. I don't think it's the right approach. It's not for me to criticize what others are doing, because not everybody is doing the same anyway. To stimulate an economy which was stagnating, we needed to give as much incentives as possible for people to spend their money and to invest. That is why we brought the tax down. We took a lot of other measures. We needed to attract foreign direct investment, because we all know the foreign direct investment, this is all the investment that is coming in today, is the creation of jobs tomorrow. If Omnicane and your group did not invest in that hotel, how many people here, and all beautiful people I noticed, how many people here are working in this hotel? They've got jobs. Because somebody, and don't believe what people say sometimes. You know, there's no sin. It's not a sin to be rich. I think people should understand it. I would want everybody to be rich in Mauritius. It's not a sin. And to be rich, believe me, you see I know Mr. Jacques Junierville sometime now. He works very hard. He takes risks. And that is why he is successful. There is a typical, used to be the communist way of life. You work hard, you succeed, you make money, and then they take your money and give it to others. That's communism is there, except in one country, I think. But that's what we needed to do. That is why we took some measures, immediate measures, to facilitate business in this country. You remember at one time, you want to open a business, you have to go to, I don't know, 10 or 12 offices, get this permit here, get the other permit there, get the other permit there. I had somebody I know who came from the United States, Mauritian, who used to live there. He came here to open some business, and having lived in the United States, he didn't mince his words. I didn't meet him when he came, but he asked for an appointment at some point. So I gave him an appointment. He came with a Texan hat. And he said to me, I want to tell you, I'm very unhappy having come back to Mauritius. I said, why? He said, do you know, in America, when I want to invest in a business, within 48 hours, I get all the permits. In Mauritius, I've been here now since 4 months. I'm going here, there, I have to come again, this is not rightly filled, etc., etc. I discussed this with the then Minister of Finance. There is no reason why there should be all these obstacles trying to control everything. And we decided to bring in a Business Facilitation Act, as you know. And today, I hope you know, and I hope it's working, if you apply for a business, for a permit, and if you don't get an answer within 3 days, the law says you can assume that you've got the permit and go ahead. It puts pressure on the government officials to make sure, if they don't want to give you the permit, answer you within 3 days. And that is why we see today we've cut red tape dramatically. We've opened up the economy to foreigners who want to invest, who have the skills and the talent. You know how many people actually, especially from France, I must say, actually want to come and live in Mauritius because they don't want to pay a high rate of tax. I don't know whether it is still 75% or not, I don't know. That's a decision they have taken. But you see the difference, 75%, 15%. There is a company, perhaps you don't know, which is actually fabricating stents. When your heart gets blocked, you put these stents in. We have at least one cardiologist here, 2 doctors, 1 surgeon, 3 doctors, sorry. And these stents are fabricated here. When they used to be fabricated in France, he's moved everything here, and now we are exporting from here to France. It's because of the business environment. There are other factors, the welcome Mauritians are well known for. But these are the kind of factors that are needed. We have attracted more foreign direct investment in 1 year than the 40 previous years when we were not there. Do you realize what it means? And this is why it's not coincidence that you see Mauritius comes out first for doing business in Africa, first for good governance, first for everything. We're first, in fact, for a lot of things. I was saying the other day when I was introducing the paper on electoral reform, I happened to be working in London in 1982 when there were the elections here, the first 60-0. I was telling some of my friends, the London Times, how do you think it reported that? Inside, not in the front page, on the international section. The title was, Unique in the World. Democracy opts for one-party state. Everybody want democracy, they want more parties. Here we decided we want to have just one party, no opposition. See, that is why I say we are quite unique. That is why we need to have this electoral reform. You can't get everything that you want. Life is about choices. If you could get everything that we wanted, that would be called paradise, wouldn't it? But, and as you rightly said, to achieve this vision, You must take steps all the time, keeping in mind the overall vision and where you want to go, your destination. There must be a golden thread connecting everything. Sometimes people say, I've opened the airport, and then the roads, and then this, and then that. It's all connected to make Mauritius, transform Mauritius into a modern, dynamic country. That, you must know that the new state-of-the-art passenger terminal that has been opened, it's the most modern in the region. Some of you know me better than others. Some criticize me, rightly so. I have no problem with this, because it might be a defect. We're trying to micromanage it, especially my ministers. I try to go into every detail, micromanaging everything. But I've learned one thing in Mauritius. If you don't look at it yourself, it won't be done properly. For the airport, you'll be surprised. Our Port de Paris, who got the contract, but I insisted to see the design. In fact, the design wasn't going to be like this. An artist had drawn this, but this is not what was being proposed. You know, the palm tree. Something else that was being proposed, but what I told them to bring everything to my office, in the treaty room where we have a lot of rows. And let me see, what are you proposing? The color of the chairs, the leather, what kind of leather, the flooring, the carpet, everything I want to see. And while I was going through, I saw this artist's design of the palm tree. And I said, well, what about this? He said, no, sir, this is it's an artist's design. It's something that's, his imagination. I said, well, he's got good imagination. Why can't we do this? He said, the guy said, I'm very sorry, sir. Mr. Kanamtu is here, he knows he was there. He said, I'm very sorry, sir, but this is just an artist's design. If you wanted to go for that, it would cost a lot more money. I said, why? Because of the steel, the structure. I said, forget it. Do that one. Others would have said no. And I knew I would get questions in Parliament. You say, why did you opt for the most expensive one? But either you have vision, you know what you want to do. We can, as I said the other day, we can choose to remain a third world country if we want. That's a choice. I think Mauritius can become a first world country. At independence time, our per capita income was just under $200. Today, it's nearly $9,000 US dollars. But you can decide you want the cheapest or the best. I remember when I became Prime Minister in 1995, when President Mandela was going to visit Mauritius. I was redoing my office because I didn't like the office of the then Prime Minister. There's no way I would sit in that office. I'm sorry. Either you have this or you don't have this. There was no way I was going to sit in that office. I wanted a modern, effective office where I could do things quickly. Anyway, the office was being redone, Prime Minister's office. And President Mandela was about to come. There were nothing, I had nothing at the beginning. Then I got a question in Parliament. You know, it's important that you know this. You mustn't be corrupt. Corruption is an evil which we must completely get rid of. But you mustn't think that by going for the cheapest is the best. A Prime Minister's office reflects the country. It's not for me, it's not personal. When I drive in a nice car, it's not for me, it's for the next Prime Minister, if there is a next Prime Minister. And you know, there was a question, because I'll tell you something. You want to sit in an office, you want an office that you like. Now, I had personal friends. I had one particular personal friend who was in the unfortunately she passed away. She's an interior designer. Her name was Caroline Gaze. Maybe some of you knew her. And Caroline knew my taste. So I asked her to design the inside, the color scheme and all those things. And I got people who know to do it. And then there were questions in Parliament. Was there a tender? Why didn't you go for the lowest tender if there was a tender? And my head of civil service then was getting worried because he knew, he told me, we're not going through the procedures. I said, yeah, don't worry. I'm not going to go through the procedures because I need to have something that I want. So he was worried when the question came up. He said, how are we going to answer this, sir? I said, don't worry, don't give me anything. I will answer it because I believe in certain things and I will say what I believe in. And the question did come. And they did say, how did you choose Mrs. Caroline Vier? Why didn't you go for the cheapest furniture? I said, that's fine. If that's what you want to do, okay. I'll put plastic chairs in my office and then ask President Mandela to sit on the chair. This is what's the difference. You must decide because it reflects on the country. What do you think you would have thought? I always remember something which is true. When President Reagan was President of the United States, one day he had two visits from two important people at the White House. The first one was and I knew him, he had just been elected for some time, a president, I don't want to mention the name, president of an African country, communist, left-wing, he's very left-wing, believes in savings, in everything done, you know. And then the same day, the Pope was going to visit the president. So the first president came, he had hired a car because he believes in savings. His delegation was one man, and he went to meet the President of the United States of America. Afterwards, the Pope came. And the Pope came with a delegation of over 50 in a big Cadillac, and lots of people with him. You know, when the Pope left, what did President Reagan say to Kissinger, who was next to him, to his Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs? He said, you see between the two who is important? It's the Pope. Look at the entourage. And look at the other guy. And in a rented car. That is the difference. You must, first impressions count. That is why I took all this time with the airport. Because the tourist or the foreigner who comes here, the first thing is the airport that he's going to see. If he sees an airport which is of third world class, he knows he's in a third world country. But, what does he want also? He wants to go through customs quickly and get his luggage quickly so that he can go to his hotel. And if you're going to have people have to wait for, make a long queue, if you have the guy at the immigration looking at your passport as if he's never seen a passport before, you see somebody else coming in looking in the passport, you know, sometimes another policeman would come and look. And then you go to get your luggage, there's only one turning table, and you wait for hours. What's the impression he's going to get? Is he going to say, well, this is a fantastic country, I want to come and invest? But today, yes. Today I have so many people who write to me. They could not believe that we have an airport like this. But it is important that we make sure, because first impression counts. This is the impression that's going to stay in there. And what do I do it for? For me? For the country. So, and the quality of infrastructure of any country, it reflects on the state of the socio-economic development of that country. Foreigners are writing to me about the new roads. Foreigners. You know, there was a minister from Congo had come to Mauritius. He came to the National Assembly. I know I've got some friends from the opposition, but I still need to say it. He was from the Congo. He was in Parliament, and then he came to see me in my office. You know what he said to me? He said, but Prime Minister, what kind of opposition do you have here? They are actually criticizing the new roads, but they should come and see what Congo is like. With all the wealth that we have, we don't have roads like this. But this is the mentality, criticize everything. That is why I say you have, of course you have a right to criticize. Of course you have a right to look whether things were done properly. But not everything under the sun. One day a foreigner came to me, a lady. He said to me, you know what you do, Prime Minister? A lady from India. You know what she said to me? She said, you know, when I see some people complaining, you should take batches of 100 people, send them abroad, tell them to try and earn a living abroad, and look what quality of life they have abroad compared to Mauritius. What can you say? The grass is greener always on the other side. But and this new airport, it's a tool for economic development, for cargo, for everything. We have invested 16 billion rupees in this airport, increase its handling capacity, to cope with our ambitions to be a first-rate country. And now, you know, we have the A380, is it A380? Yes, A380, the largest plane in the world, coming here every day. I modified the airport while it was being constructed because I realized after a visit to France at l'Élysée with President Sarkozy, he's the one actually who told me, you know, if you're going to do all this, you should be able to have A380s to come here. He said he himself, he would have liked to travel if it was an A380. I changed the construction, Mr. Tanganam. I said, no, we must add another bridge. Okay, it's going to take longer, but we need to be able to welcome the A380. We won't have it at this point. I don't know if there's anybody from Mauritius here, but I hope we will have our own at some point. The Dream, I think it's called Dreamliner, is coming here in May. I hope they would have corrected all those little mistakes. And I'm glad that, therefore, I'm not reading my speech anyway, I won't go through all these details. I've told you enough. We have, and also one thing I need to tell you, you know, people don't realize it. We decided on an African strategy. And I'll tell you something. I want to tell you this. You know, when Sasim Saka was Prime Minister, he wanted, we were not independent yet. He wanted to go as an observer to the Organization of African Unity. Go and see what was being said in the press, because he was saying we need to join the organization. It was called Organization of African Unity at the time. Go and see what was said in the press at the time. Rangoula m'a perdu le pédale. L'Afrique. On va quitter l'Europe, on va investir en Afrique. Go and see the articles. But he insisted on that policy. Today, everybody is saying Africa is the new growth area. Everybody is saying it. Everybody is investing in Africa. But look at what time he had the vision to see that we should go to Africa. We now have put in place, I think since 2012, a different African strategy to make Mauritius a more efficient investment platform to the continent. The Africa Center for Excellence is pursuing its objective to assist global investors in using these platforms. And we are already getting results. We have our good ambassador for Africa here. He tells me from time to time what the African leaders are saying about Mauritius, the good things they're saying about Mauritius. So that is why developing a world-class airport was extremely important in our strategy for the next wave of development. And it would be too long if I say all this, but what I'd like to say is that this hotel bridges the gap, in fact, that we need. And it will act, I'm sure, as a catalyst for others to follow. But the problem is, he's taken the space. One space is gone already. I think there's another one being built. I'm not sure what it will by another group. And but what I think I want you to know is that we are, in spite of the recession that is still going on in Europe, and I'm sure you know, Europe is the most important for us, because this is our biggest market, export market. And when Europe is in trouble, automatically we should be in trouble. There's no way we can escape what is happening in Europe from here. It has an effect. Today we live in a globalized world. What happens in one corner of a country affects everybody else. That is why we need to be competitive, to work hard, to increase productivity, and that is how we will make this next leap to a high-income economy, which I want Mauritius to become, and I think it can become. It has the potential. So with these words, ladies and gentlemen, let me say I'm very glad to be here, even though I have a lot of things to do. But I wish to congratulate the promoters in their venture for this hotel, and I look forward for the success that I'm sure it will come. And you also mentioned the other plan for the region. Omnicaine has a master plan. I think you showed it on television. It's again, I want to say, what we want at the end of the day must never be for what we want. It's human nature to want to better yourself. But we must never forget the interest of the country. We want to make this area, this airport, an aviation hub. We think we can train, we can do servicing for planes, even train pilots. All this can be done here. And we want to do it because we want to make Mauritius that hub. And with the plan, the master plan that you have for this area, it will further develop the southern region of our country. So once again, I want to congratulate my two friends here for their dedication and their persistence in trying to see that the project comes to fruition. I thank you for your attention.